Mike McGarry. I think live in Philly for the Phillies and the Nationals currently where, well, the Nationals have 2 on, nobody out. They've already scored a run. That's the Vince Velasquez that I know. 5-1 Phillies, but don't get comfortable as McGarry is live in Philly to give us some thoughts on what happened last night, what's going on today, and also we'll kind of reset some Sixers things for you. What's going on, Michael?
Hey, how are you? You're absolutely right. We're getting the full Vinny Velasquez experience here. Perfect 9 up and 9 down through 3 innings, and now all of a sudden hitting a wall here in the 4th.
I mean, 76 pitches through the 5th, and this is unbelievable, but nobody's checked him yet. Now, were you there last night when that all went down?
Yes, I was, and Vinny did get checked. He got checked coming off the mound after the first inning.
That error right there. Holy mackerel.
Right, that's not a good sign right there, what just happened. Yes, I was here for last night, and, we had some ramifications for that this morning. Nationals Mike Rizzo calling Joe Girardi a con man. So the sticky gate goes to another level today.
Yeah, no, well, you mentioned they're all getting checked. I guess they're getting checked periodically, but I meant that no one has actually said, hey, this guy's pitching so well that I need you to go out there and go look, much like Girardi. I think that was the whole thing. Wasn't there supposed to be some sort of gentleman's agreement that they weren't going to do what Girardi did? And Girardi said pregame that that's silly. I'm not going to do that.
Right, absolutely. They told the starters before the game that the umpires were going to check them twice. After the first inning and probably after the second or third, and the relievers were all going to get checked once after their half inning of work. Girardi went above and beyond last night by kind of going out and asking the umpires to check Max Scherzer. It seems to me, my take on it is that it shows just kind of how desperate maybe Girardi is. He's trying, and obviously you want your manager to get every edge, to fight for every inch, to help your team win. But he seems to be going above and beyond doing that. And maybe it says to him, maybe he's doing that because he knows the Phillies have such a slim margin for error or need every inch they can get.
I agree with that. I thought he was doing it to try to just get Scherzer out of a rhythm because he was shutting them down so much. But, what kind of circus can we expect? Now, I didn't realize what you said happened is that they told them, see, I don't like that either. Hey, I'm going to tell you in the first and the third, we're going to come out and check, which means in the other innings, feel free. I think it should be more randomized, don't you?
Yeah, I guess they're trying to give some order to it and avoid the kind of, circus-like atmosphere or circus-like incidents that you had here last night. They did just tell the start. Now, they've been doing mostly the first and the third. I guess they told the pitchers before that they were going to check the starters twice. So theoretically, you don't know when that check is coming. But most of the time, from what I've seen last night and tonight, they've been doing it after the first inning and after the third inning.
And I guess for the relief pitchers, once they come into the game, they're getting checked once they come off the mound that first inning.
Correct. And most of your relief pitchers go 1 inning. It's rare that a reliever goes back out for 2. So you're basically checking the guy after he's done with his work. Now, I don't know what you do. If you catch the guy, they get a 10-game suspension.
Yeah.
If you got 3 outs, you can't go back and put the 3 outs back on the board or something like that. But, that is what they are doing. The relievers are being checked after their half inning of work.
Now, I know a lot of the hitters, like Chris Bryant last night from the Cubs, was like, shame on us for allowing them to tell us that they needed this substance to get a better grip on the ball. Like, they're looking at it like they're the victims and that they allowed this so much. Like, they enabled it here. This is going to be an interesting stare down, Mike, between the Players Association and baseball, don't you think? Don't they have a labor agreement coming up here?
Well, they do have a labor agreement coming up, but I think the problem with the Players Association is, like, your consistency is split, right? It's 50-50. It's hitters on one side and pitchers on the other. So if the pitchers are using, a substance to make themselves more effective and drive down hitters' batting average in numbers, i.e. costing hitters money, you almost have a split in the Players Association there. And then you have some hitters who want the pitchers to be able to use something, because as Max Scherzer pointed out last night, a few batters before Girardi checked the guy, he whizzed a 95-mile-an-hour fastball past Alec Boehm's head, And, if a guy's throwing 96, 97 miles an hour, if you're a hitter, you'd like to have that pitcher have an idea of where that ball is going.
Now, let me ask you, you cover a lot of high school sports. Are they, am I unaware, are they using some sort of substance to get grip on the baseball, or am I naive to this?
Yeah, I don't think they're using it on the high school level. And I would think that, it's a type of thing where if you use it, you have to have a certain amount of talent. Like I could go out there and put, all the, the Spidey tack or whatever you want on the baseball. I'm not going to be able to strike out, Bryce Harper going out there. So
right.
I think it's a talent thing. I don't think they're using it on the high school to sort of increase their spin rate. Although high school pitchers working on sort of natural ways of focusing on their spin rate is a pretty big thing these days.
It absolutely is. Oh, yeah. But it's like at what point, Scherzer, he's like, I had to put my hand through my hair because I needed moisture. And I'm thinking, did you do that when you were in high school? Did you need that in college? At what point it was like, hey, I need to do this? Or are you so used to now, I don't want cheating, I guess, that you almost have to?
Well, I think, too, in high school, right, I think the problem with the major leagues is you're almost using a new baseball, a brand new shiny baseball on every pitch or every batter, right? In high school, you're using a couple of baseballs. The baseballs get some dirt on it around the infield. So you get the ball gets scuffed up a little bit and makes it easy to grip. Whereas in the major leagues, as soon as the ball hits the dirt, it's out of play, So I think that's a big factor also.
By the way, just in, former Sixers assistant coach M.A. Udoka is the new Celtics head coach. They will finalize that agreement, and he will be the new Celtics coach. So that just came down. So let's transfer over to the NBA and the basketball, Mike. Daryl Morey spoke yesterday, and I know I thought there was going to be more Ben Simmons inquiries. I got to be honest. But the ones that were there, did it give us any clear picture of the way they're thinking? Did you read the tea leaves one way or the other?
Well, I mean, my take on these end-of-season press conferences, I know why teams do it, but they really are satisfying for anyone involved, and teams more often than not just get themselves in trouble in them. I mean, the Phillies have had a couple of disastrous end-of-season press conferences. John Middleton had one 2 years ago. I think it was last fall, right? Andy McPhail,
yes.
Who's going to move in a pandemic type of deal. So they're not satisfying anything because we want Daryl Morey to tell us what he's going to do. We want him to come out and say, Ben Simmons is gone. I'm trading him. There's no doubt about it. But we all know he's not going to say that. So everybody ends up leaving basically unsatisfied. Me sort of reading the tea leaves and looking at some
yes,
signs.
That's what we want. We want you to read the tea leaves, though.
Right. I don't think there's any doubt. I think Ben Simmons, they have to trade him, and they will trade him in the offseason. I think there's plenty of evidence that say him and Embiid don't work, and I think you have to choose between the two, and you're going to choose Embiid, and you're going to trade Simmons.
Well, aren't they? They're really setting it up, though, to make you, I mean, at least Doc is, we have a plan in place, and he's skipping the Olympics. Well, they didn't say that. That was reported afterwards, that he's not going to play for Australia because he wants to work on his skills. Then Doc says, hey, we have a whole plan in place. We know exactly what we want to do here. This coming from a guy who is not really known for his player development.
Yeah, exactly. 10 days ago, Mike, Doc Rivers told us, well, if he makes 1 out of 2, it's fine. And Ben Simmons does a lot of things that don't matter, and we don't need him to score. Now, 10 days later, we have some top-secret plan where we're going to take him from being a 30% foul shooter to a 70% foul shooter. It's not happening. I mean, Ben Simmons is who he is. He can be an effective NBA player, I believe, on a winning team, just not here in Philadelphia with Joel Embiid. If you take Ben Simmons and you surround him with 4 shooters, let's remember back to 2018, right? Joel Embiid has the eye injury, and the Sixers win like 20 in a row when it's Ben Simmons out there with 4 shooters. Put him in a similar situation with another NBA team, I think you're going to be effective, but you're never going to have that situation here in Philadelphia because you have Embiid.
It's an interesting I didn't realize this. I got to be honest. Simmons in the playoffs, his rookie year, shot 70% from the free throw line. And whatever happened since that point, I mean, he seemed like the arrow was pointing up. And apparently, they had a plan. They were working with him. And then Simmons' crew came in and said, not going to keep doing this. We're going to go do our own thing. So I guess the question really is, Mike, does Ben Simmons content, like he'll give you these answers like, well, how many assists did I have tonight? And how many points did Trae Young score? Like in his mind, is he the one guy who does something that nobody else does and he doesn't want to be like everybody else?
Well, I think in his mentality, those answers he gave in the post-game press conference after Game 7, how many assists did I have? What did Trae Young shoot? He's in his mind, he's saying, I did my job. I did that well. I played defense against Trae Young. I distributed the ball to my guys. But, that just doesn't work. It just isn't enough here in Philadelphia. We need him to be a more effective offensive player. We need him to be more aggressive. It might be effective. For example, and who knows what's going to happen, take Ben Simmons and put him in the Draymond Green role on the Golden State Warriors, and Golden State's probably a very good team, if not better than they are now. The problem is it's just team makeup, and you have Embiid and Simmons, and it's just not a good fit here in Philadelphia, and I believe you have to choose between the two, and you're going to choose Embiid and not Simmons at this point.
It'll be. By the way, did you realize he shot 70% from the line as a rookie in the postseason?
Yeah, I remember those games against, that was the series
Miami.
against the Miami Heat. And you know what, Mike? He's never had a problem in the first round of the playoffs. He's always played well. The Miami Heat, he played well. The Brooklyn Nets, he played well. He even played well against the Washington Wizards, right? It's in round 2 where he kind of hits that stumbling block. That rookie year, did he have the game up in Boston where he scored like 2 points,
Yep.
And then you had Toronto the next year where he took 6 shots in the fourth quarter in 51 minutes. And then you had this year against the Hawks where he takes 3 shots in 50-something minutes of the fourth quarter. So he's always played well in round 1, which is more like the regular season. It's when you get to round 2 and you face the better defenses where he sort of hits where it becomes a problem. And, the other flip side is if you're the Sixers, you're looking at the success that Embiid and Steph Curry had in a 2-man game throughout the Hawks series. And I'm going to my mind, I'm saying, what if we put Embiid with a guard who is truly a playmaker and a really outstanding shooter, scorer, creator? What could that look like? So that's why I think you absolutely have to trade Ben Simmons.
Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City. Ben Simmons in the second round and Vince Velasquez in the 5th. It's now 5-5. I figured if we talked long enough, this game would be tied.
Exactly. I knew, even though it went 9 up and 9 down, I said there's no way we're not here for nearly 4 hours. But there are worse places to spend 4 hours than the ballpark, right?
Yeah.
So.
And by the way, it was Archie Bradley who gave up the bomb, but they had to get Velasquez out because he had 2 on. Real quick, Mike, you'll be back on Friday, but it's a nice little Phillies-Mets series coming up.
Well, exactly, and this is why today's game is so big. The Phillies have got to build some momentum going into 4 games in New York. This really is a key stretch for them, and, it's not going well. They've been lost 2 or 3 in a row, and a win today, they've got to build some momentum going into New York for 4 games.
All right, man. Mike McGarry, Press of Atlantic City. Make sure you give him a follow, AC Press McGarry. And he, like all guests here on the Sports Bash, a lot going on throughout the summer with the Phils, the Sixers offseason, and we're 34 days away from Eagles camp. All right, pal. I'll talk to you Friday.
All right. We'll see you later, Mike. Thanks.
All right. There he is. That's Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City.